we've got Cersei versus Khaleesi versus Jon Snow in the new Game of Thrones trailer. I'm Sasha Pearl Raver, and this is Screen Junkies News. Season 7, there's a trailer, we're gonna talk about it, it's so good! OMG, you guys. We've got Mr. J. Washington, Ferris Lay, Roth Cornett, Sasha Pearl Raver, Game of Thrones Season 7. The heartbreak of knowing we only have 13 more episodes. Yeah. But we got a trailer for the first 7. Let's talk about this. It starts not that interestingly. How dare you?
Roth's whole face.
It starts with a bunch of people walking.
It was
okay. It is the most intense walking you will ever see.
To do a lot. You don't have to. You can just have Jon Snow walking down that hallway, and I'm excited.
It's already. True. And how much does he look like Robb Stark?
He's like so much like Robb.
So much,
man.
So it starts with
which house are you guys in?
Oh,
distracting you.
I'm with the King of the North. I stick by the King.
Stark.
I'm a Stark house.
Targaryen.
Yeah.
What? Marmont.
You answered the call.
Where you at, girl?
Lady Marmont. Well, she's like, you did not answer the call.
Oh, I answered the call. Where are you, Roth? What house?
Well, now I'm feeling.
Wait a minute. Wait. No. Don't go to well now. What were you in before the well now?
I am.
Oh. There you go.
There we go.
All right.
Nice.
So what? We will start with you. So it begins with a song by James called Sit Down. And we see Jon Snow walking the corridors of Winterfell. And then we see Khaleesi walking the corridors of Dragonstone. And then we see Cersei walking the very sad, dark corridors of King's Landing. Roth, you obviously loved some walking. Tell me your thoughts.
It's amazing walking. I think that what's great about this trailer and the previous trailer is that they used very simple images to convey a lot about what's being set up for this season. And so we're under the assumption, right, that this is going to be the war beneath the war is going to start to unfold this season, right? So the war beneath the war, winter is coming, has always been about the war between life and death, the living and the dead, the White Walkers and those who are of life, dragons versus ice dragons, cats and dogs. So I feel like you get that set up here between these three and these three separate distinct thrones, right? And she is, let's talk about where they are a little bit. Where is she?
Daenerys is in Dragonstone, which is the home, this is the ancestral home of the Targaryens. That's where we found Stannis Baratheon when he was told, when Devils met up, Sir Devils met up, when it was like, look, this is your, this is your legacy. You need to be on the Iron Throne. Robert Baratheon's died, which everybody was like, well, you know what happens. But also, because we see her on a throne, when we last saw her in season 6, was 7, the last season we just saw her, she was getting on ships to go across the sea, taking the Dothraki, taking the Unsullied, taking everybody. She's on the sea. So we don't see her land yet. So she ends up landing there in Dragonstone, her ancestral home, where she takes power there officially.
And what do they have there?
Beautiful dragon glass.
Beautiful dragon glass.
To kill White Walkers.
Yeah. Well, and then we've got Jon Snow. Jon Snow, who, Paris, where do we find Jon Snow?
He's in Winterfell. He's back where he should have always been, back in control where he should be. I think it's always weird where it's like, oh, he's a bastard. He shouldn't be in charge. Like, no, he's the one that's left. And if they're still going to think, well, a guy has to be in charge, he's the one, I guess. So I really like that he's back home, and now this is where it's finna get ready to start like kicking off. It's just so excited to see him there, because you remember the last time he was there, he was just like, he left and he kind of left, not necessarily in disgrace. He went under false pretenses, thinking the Night's Watch was something that it wasn't.
Yeah.
Right.
And like he never really felt like home or was his. And now like I'm back here and this is mine. Like I'm in charge now. Like, so that's just so cool. It's just the evolution of like where he was the last time we saw him in those halls to now I'm at the head of the table. It's so cool.
And it's also crazy that when he left, it was like very beginning of season 1, and he was a boy, and now he has come back a man, King of the North. I'm talking about it, and I am getting the
literally
chills.
reborn.
Literally reborn.
Yeah, and remember, no, there were still people in the North who were like, "You're a bastard. We still don't want to take you."
And if you think about what he represents on the show, he is the combination of so many things, right? As we know, like his backstory, and we've started to see a little bit of that, and it's long been theorized that he is half Targaryen.
Always said it.
Half Stark.
Yeah.
Right? And there's the idea of the dragon with 3 heads, right? We're seeing all of this start to play out, but he is also the combination of living and dead. He is both dead and alive, right? He is the person at the fulcrum of what this has always been about. It's never really been about the battle for the Iron Throne, because at the end of the day, that's not even going to matter. And I think we saw that with the first trailer, with the dissolution of the sigils. All of that, the politics, as much fun as they aren't going to matter in the face of the grander war.
Well, so this is interesting. As you go through this 90-second trailer, as this James song, Sit Down, where the lyrics are love and fear, fate and tears, plays constantly over and over, the primary moment, as you see each of these characters take a place on a throne, one made of possibly dragon glass, possibly stone, we're not sure, one made of wood and one obviously made of iron. At the very end of it, you have Cersei sit down and all of these candles blow out and she has a single exhalation of breath that turns to mist, because y'all, winter's there.
It's there. Winter's arrived.
Now, in this moment, we then go to an eye. There's lots of eyeballs in this, and it is the Night King's blue eyeball. And we see part of the face. This begs the question, is Cersei going to become the Night's Queen?
And I'm so curious what fans think of this, because there's so much lore and so many theories about who the Night King is and how he came to be. And there's an entire story about the woman that made him. I didn't read that necessarily out of that. I read the following things potentially.
Hit it. What'd you read?
That she was so far gone that she would almost align with them because that's how much she doesn't want anybody else to take the throne. 2, with her children now dead, the only connection Cersei had to humanity is now severed completely. She's dead inside. She may as well align with the dead. And then possibly that, but I don't think the Night King, that she would become a White Walker herself. I don't necessarily think that that's where we're headed.
Well, this is interesting, though. Could she then create an alliance where it is King's Landing and the White Walkers going against the Targaryens and the Starks?
We got to remember, too, Jon is the only one who knows. Like, all 3 of them, like, are in charge, but he's the only one who knows what the real stakes are.
Daenerys has no idea what's really going on in the outside.
There's no Twitter. She doesn't know what's happening.
Idea. She's been building an army. But I wanted to add on to Ross one thing with the breath. Remember, King's Landing is empty.
Yeah.
She killed everybody in the last season. So that she basically is a queen without a queendom. There's nobody there.
King's Landing is always the warmest place, right? And so if it's now freezing cold there, that means that winter is 100% there.
Well, Dorne, I think, actually is the warmest place. But still.
Dorne, but I'm saying, but inside in Westeros, it's always King's Landing. And so if she is now breathing out cold, then that means that the whole kingdom, it is done. The whole kingdom is in ice and freezing, and this war is afoot. It's happening.
On there. It's right there on King's Landing.
You know what kills ice?
Fire.
You know who's got fire? There you go.
She's got dragons. She's got dragon glass. They need each other. Jon Snow knows what they are. He has the information for how to fight them, right? So Cersei's sort of the outlier. Like, really, the smart thing for her to do would be to align with them to fight for the living, but she would never do that.
Of course not.
So I have always said, I mean, this is a very popular theory, and I'm a little bummed we got no Dinklage in this trailer because Dink is my man. I have always thought we are going to see the 3-headed dragon, and it will be Dinklage, Jon Snow.
That's the popular theory.
Where is he? Why was he not part of this? Because he was with Daenerys at the end of the last season.
He's an advisor now. So
he's the hand. He's the hand to the queen.
But why not have him sitting down next to her on the throne?
I'm about to say, if that's the case, you'd have to show each of one of them who's
with their partner.
Yeah, because there would be Sansa basically for Jon, and assuming Jaime.
No. The way he looked at her at the end of the last season,
he is
not okay with what's happening.
Jaime's going to go tap that Brienne of Tarth.
You've been known that was going to happen.
He's going to the light.
He's going to climb that mountain in a sense. He's going to climb that mountain.
Oh, man, this is so exciting. But we only get 7 episodes.
And they're not going to give away the 3-headed dragon in that trailer either.
No, of course not. I
feel like that was to mess with us, to be like, oh, what if it's Cersei after all? Right? Like, I feel like that's it's a little bit trolling the fan base.
I get what you're saying. If that was Cersei, Cersei was that third head on the dragon. I think that would be.
It's not. I don't think it is.
She is totally, like you said, the kind of person who would just. She would let it all burn and die if she could still. She would be. She would be the queen of ashes.
She's still in charge.
Like, if I could be in charge of a pile of ashes, I still want to be that. Like she does not understand the greater good, and she does not care.
And now she doesn't have children to humanize her.
Like she was saying, like I think that really points to what she's. I really feel like she can align with the White Walkers.
And there's nobody she wants to have children with anymore besides her brother, who's like, nah,
who was already the father of the children.
Who was the father of the 3 children.
Something we always forget about. Just like he lost kids too, guys.
Yeah, like we gotta really be sad for James.
He lost kids too.
Remember all 3? Joffrey got poisoned.
Joffrey was an asshole and deserved to die.
The little girl that went over to
got killed in Dorne.
And then you had Tomlin who went wee.
That was one of those moments. Oh man, I mean, Game of Thrones, Game of Threesies is just
Game of Threesies.
Game of Threesies is my life because we're so close.
Game of Threesies. I got you.
The one thing that we're definitely I want to see this season, if I can ask.
No, I was going to say, what are we looking forward to?
The ice dragons that are rumored to be underneath the wall. They're supposedly ice dragons.
Yeah, I want to see
going
those.
to be the end of season
ice
7?
dragons versus living fire dragons. Yeah.
I didn't even know that. What?
Wow. Okay, is that
the ice dragon?
No. Is that
what
you're thinking will be end? So, okay, 7 episodes. Not a lot of episodes.
And then
where are we going to go?
Season.
What are you excited to see? What do you think we get? She's thinking ice dragons. Paris, what are you thinking?
I'm hoping that the politics do not get in the way of Jon and Khaleesi figuring out that they need to be teaming up. You know, sometimes just like the mix of politics and just so many little scenes where you're like, oh God, if you only knew that or that would be so frustrating if like just the politics of being in charge stopped that from coming together.
I think we'll see a lot of the politics, especially like you'll have Tyrion keep trying to talk to Daenerys like, do you really need him? Can you really trust him? You know, can you trust Jon Snow? Because he'll start hearing things.
He likes Jon, though. Remember?
He likes Jon, but he'll start hearing things. He's half White Walker. He's been dead. He's back. You know, this and the third. Can you trust what they'll do in Winterfell knowing you're trying to take King's Landing? Mm-hmm. You know, politics will play a factor, but I believe it'll lead to, the Ice Dragons breaking out of the wall.
Damn.
In the last episode of this season.
I think so, too. It's going to be at that.
Because we're always getting held on that boom, here comes it happens, and then nothing else. So you're like, what is the last season? The Ice Dragons will break free from the wall.
We haven't said anything. What's going to happen with Arya?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of other characters to get
She's going to be the greatest assassin that ever lived.
Focus on the big 3.
I want her to do.
Can I just say, I think it is amazing that we literally had a 90-second trailer, and we have now talked about it for I don't even know how many minutes, and I'm just like, but wait, where's Tyrion?
I want to see her do. I want to see Arya do what she did to Walter Frey.
Queen of Thorns.
But the truth is, we could sit here for 3 hours and talk about every character and where we may find them.
That's the thing is, how? When they only have 13 hours left?
Because what's happening now, to your point, I feel like the story, I've always thought that if you think this is going to be a happy ending, you're not.
No, they're all going to die.
It's not going to be a happy ending, but it's also, I think, very much going to be about the uselessness of all of these political machinations. I feel like at the end of the day, all of this really crumbles and falls apart, and it reveals how dumb it's all been the entire time, and how pointless all this death has been over greed and just ambition and avarice for something that's so empty. Cersei, her whole life wanted this thing, and it's brought her nothing but misery and pain. And I feel like that's ultimately the lesson. And then you have the people coming in from beyond the wall, and they're democratic. I feel like we see a total dissolution of the monarchy by the end of this, and that whole thing is done. It's dead. There is no Iron Throne, and you've been fighting for nothing.
Yeah.
On that note, now that a mic has been dropped, we need to know, what do you guys think? What are you excited for? I know it's only 90 seconds, but that's a lot to chew on. Let us know in the comments below. You can tweet us at SJ News. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Of course, you can always click here for more Screen Junkies news, and we'll see you again very soon.